with a nickel corner, would you envision with both Cornell and Armstrong out to use primarily
Cornell and
safeties?
Armstrong.
Yeah, right.
With both Cornell and Marshall out, would you envision using safeties in that role? And of your natural corners on the roster, do you think any could play nickel well? I know Jack Jones has done a little bit earlier and Rasul, but who's best equipped among your natural corners to play nickel?
Yeah, we're in the process of trying to figure that out with the guys currently on the roster, right? Most of the guys that we have available to us right now are primarily been outside guys. So we've got some cross training going on right now with all the guys who currently aren't starters, and we'll see how it shakes out. But yes, primarily that role will have to be filled by safeties.
What kind of challenge do the Chargers offer in that position? Because I know Ladd McConkey played a lot of his game in the slot last year. Keenan Allen there as well.
Yeah, I mean their skill, particularly at receiver, is dynamic, right? The McConkey kid, I think, is one of the best receivers in the game. Probably underappreciated. Really change of direction, can stop on a dime, can run every route. He has speed. And then the number one, Quentin Johnson, right? I mean, God, dog, you take the top off, right? You see him run; he runs like a deer. So we certainly got our hands full with these matchups, but I expect our guys to respond, particularly after last week.
Anthony, with the rookies, obviously, no one should draw any conclusions after 5 games. It's way too early. But in general, how much time do you give them in today's NFL before you start to make judgments on what their ceiling is?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, how do you keep their confidence up?
Yeah, I think you got to give them time, right? You got to give them time to mature and adjust to the speed of the game, and give them time to, again, refine their technique and fundamentals. The confidence issue is real, right? Particularly in today's society, because whether you try to avoid it or not, and I think with age, right, comes some wisdom where you just stay off of social media and things like that. These young bucks aren't doing that. So as much as you preach to them and talk to them about ignoring those things and just continue to put one foot in front of the other and staying level-headed and even keel, that's hard. So I've had this conversation with Kenny, again, because I said this a week ago, nobody puts more pressure on himself to go out there and perform than he does. And if we go off yesterday's practice, I think maybe we finally said something that hit, because it looked like he was just going out there playing free and not putting that pressure on himself when he has a little mistake and letting that compound throughout the game. And we felt a little bit of that. So he has to have a quick memory. You're going to fail and fail forward and just keep trying to do the next right thing, which we preach all the time.
There's a play that gained traction on social media where it appeared that Kenneth was pushed back 5 or more yards almost into a teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sometimes fans and us folks who haven't played at a high level, we think that the defensive lineman's only job is to run forward as far as they can, as fast and as hard as they can.
Mm-hmm.
What should we know about that play, and if you remember it, and how I'm really tired. Where a defensive lineman needs to be present.
All right. I got you. I got you, Joe. I got you. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Hey, excuses and responsibility cannot coexist, but we'll let you be tired. I'm not sure of the exact play. I imagine it was the 1 4-minute towards the end, I believe. I think we were in like a 2-eye, and Kenny at that particular point, like, he had something going on with his foot. All right, so I think that contributed to some of the pushback. There is no situation to me as a defensive lineman where you want to be sitting on the linebacker's lap. We're constantly trying to make sure we win the line of scrimmage as a baseline. So for that to happen is unacceptable, and he knows that. But I'm not sure of the exact play in particular. But just know that from our perspective, if you're a D lineman and you're on the lap of the linebackers, you didn't do your job.
You mentioned him playing more free in practice. How much of coaching a play like that is balance of making sure he's taking in all these responsibilities, but also understanding you don't want to throw too much at him?
Yeah, I think both of those young bucks, because they care so much in their work ethic, they're just very meticulous, right? And they want to do things exactly right, sometimes to their detriment a little bit. Like you want to go out there and you want to be exacting. You want to make sure you do your job with discipline. But it's like I said, at the end of the day, like, it's football, and the ball is the issue. and you got to roll off, attack the guy in front of you. Hey, your hat may end up in the wrong gap. Get off the block and tackle the ball at the end of the day. So those guys got to get back to doing that a little bit more and understand they're not glorified offensive linemen out there. We're not just trying to keep our backers free. We're trying to get off blocks and make plays.
I mean, kind of going off of that, I was talking to Bill Polian in the press box last week, and we noticed that I think Tyrell and Jordan led the league in tackles, 1 and 2 entering the week. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I don't think you really want that.
Yeah.
And just from why is that like a bad thing that your linebackers? Why is it a bad thing if your linebackers have high numbers?
It's not. I mean, guys, I played with Ray Lewis, so it's not the worst thing. Okay, he was up in the top of the league every year. With our guys in particular, I just think there's plays that should be made by the defensive linemen that are getting to the linebackers, and I think that's probably where Bill's sentiments come from. So, and I think the same thing. There's just ops right there where I think we're hanging on blocks a little bit too long. Where, all right, like there's the ball, like get off the block and go tackle. You wouldn't think you'd have to teach that, but when you have guys again that are this well intentioned, that you want to make sure you're not coaching them into paralysis. You want to make sure you're allowing them to be football players still at the end of the day.
The injuries at nickel impacted your play calling, if at all?
Yeah, you certainly think about it, right? You think about that call at the end of the game. You know, I'm thinking about who we have covering who. Chose to double, right, in 4-man rush, where situationally if I felt, all right, hey, we got all our horses out there, I'm not worried about the matchups, and I shouldn't have been in hindsight. I could trust our safeties or whoever's out there covering at any particular point. But maybe I am a little bit more aggressive in that aspect on that 4th down. Just knowing that, hey, we can cover a man up, we'll put somebody over the top, a single post, and we'll be all right. Chose to go the other way. But, yeah, so you're constantly thinking about that and who you have available and what their matchups are. So to sit here and say that it doesn't affect play calling would be a lie.
With this your situation with Terrell Dotson being in the concussion protocol, in my opinion, not that our opinion doesn't matter though, but playing an inside.
You gotta give him some grace. He didn't get he's tired. Give him a little bit of grace.
Inside linebacker with concussions is not a good recipe for success.
Yeah.
How do you go about replacing the green dot, and what's the balance between KJ and Willie trying out for that spot?
Yeah, the green dot conversation is always interesting to me because people just think like, yeah, just give the next guy the green dot. That guy that has the green dot, there's a tremendous amount of responsibility that comes with that. And I've been around some guys who have gotten that, and then it's slowed down their play because now they're in charge of disseminating all this information everywhere, and now they're like, oh God, what's my job? Some guys just need a little bit more time to process what they have to do, who they have to talk to, what they're looking at, all those things. So you have to make sure that guy has the right temperament to do that. We're currently trying to figure that out. We have the utmost faith in both KJ and Willie, whoever ends up trotting out there at the end of the day. KJ has been trained in that role throughout. Willie's kind of bounced back and forth. So we'll see. There may be opportunities for both of them out there as the mic. And then in terms of just who wears the green dot, we'll make that decision. It could be safety, could be Jordan Brooks. In an ideal world, somebody that's out there all 3 downs, right? So you're not forced to do some of the things where you have to signal in calls and things like that, which we've gotten into at times. So we'll see. We're still in the process. We're in a lot of discussions. We're working multiple guys right now and just see who's the most comfortable in doing that.
We have a question about the run defense. I'm sorry. It's a dog world.
Pancake right there.
Regarding the run defense, I know that there's a question about you watching film, and I know that a lot of your job is to teach and correct, but it's also a very emotional game.
Yeah.
Where are you watching film between anger and frustration and finding solutions?
I try not to do anything in anger and frustration. I'm in the solution business. I'm in the problem-solving business. So I give myself 24 hours, right? There's 24 hours where certainly there can be a little anger and rage, but then you got to shake it off and you got to get back to, all right, how do we attack these problems? As it pertains to our run defense, the unfortunate part of it, I think they gained about 140 of those 200 yards on 4 runs. right? So if you have 30 runs and 4 of them go for 140 and the other 26 go for 60, everything you're doing is not wrong. Now, as it pertains to those 4 runs, particularly early in the first half, a lot of that was like second level misfits, and then guys trying to make plays on the ball before we stopped the ball. That's probably the bigger issue. Some of those big runs that went for 50, for 40, for 20, they should go for 8, for 9, for 10. And then you're sitting here and we probably have a W at the end of the day. So we're always evaluating our systems and our processes and our who's on the field doing what. I think there's a lot of things we're doing right. Certainly our run defense is disappointing. We're not defeated by any means because we've seen, you could show one play go for -1 and they can run the exact same play, go for 25 against the exact same defense. Now that's not a scheme problem. That's a trust fit tackling problem, which is what we need to get fixed.
Benito Jones had a couple of run stops.
Yeah.
Maybe on consecutive plays even. I told him he had quick feet. He said, no, I'm not quick. But would you consider giving him or others more playing time? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought playing time in this league and on our team, to me, is earned daily, right? And he went out there and played a good game, and to me, he's earned the right to have some more reps. So I was pleased with how Benito was playing. I was pleased with how Benito played this game. I thought it was his best game to date, and because of that, he'll be rewarded for it, right? We live in a meritocracy in this league, so you get what you earn. And the second you become complacent, the second you're on your way out.
The tackling issue. My bad, Poop. I apologize. I saw a lot of. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Sorry.
You slow the draw.
I saw a lot of arm tackles. Not a lot of wrapping up. A lot of lowered shoulders. You know, how frustrating is that as a former player? And then is that more of a technique and fundamental issue, or is it something else?
Yeah, that was disappointing because one of our points of emphasis going into the game was to take the extra step, meaning make sure you got bone on bone, pad on pad, and got these guys to the ground. In that game, I think the biggest thing that happened to us is we were so ball conscious and trying to take it away and just never stopped the actual ball carrier. And this guy was running, he was like a runaway freight train, just running downhill. So that was disappointing. Again, we have an incredibly prideful group. So there are times in that game when you're watching the tape and you want to throw up, particularly because it's some of the guys that were making some of the errors. It was unlike them. So the beauty is we have an opportunity to correct it. We had no time to hang our heads and to walk around like we're at a wake, right? And I thought the guys yesterday at practice did just that. They attacked their daily routine and what they were trying to do, and just went out there and attacked the field and tried to get better. So hopefully we see the results of that this week. Go ahead, come on.
So Weave, I got a question.
This better be good.
What you got? What do you tell Jack Jones in terms of maintaining the balance between physicality and being careless with the hands, especially?
Yeah, that the defensive back position, particularly in today's game, you got to play with your feet, right? You got a 5-yard window there where you can be as aggressive as you can, but once you're out of that window, you got to play the game with your feet, and he's got to trust his speed and his change of direction. There's no need for Jack to get handsy. He's a very emotional player, right? He cares, he loves it, but when that emotion gets too high and it starts to become uncontrolled, and that's when those things start to happen to him. We actually just had that conversation this morning. So I think it's very important to him that when a bad play happens, that he responds and not reacts and doesn't let it just snowball to what we saw at the end of the game.